Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show on Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition. Truly loosey-goosey this time around. This is an hour of fresh live content followed by a couple of hours of best of, and you're going to like it. No, it's not? Wait a minute. You're shaking your head.
No, the live part. Sorry, that's all. Yeah. Got to be for FCC purposes.
Sorry. This was done an hour before showtime.
That's correct.
Okay. And the other stuff was done in some cases years ago. So there you go. But this hour, you get Lee Sterling. We'll have him on from Paramount Sports. And my mom. We got to get our wagers. She beat me by 1 last week. She's up 2 going into the week. We did our wagers today, and we have 3 different. So we'll see. You'll hear that coming up. By the way, it's her birthday. So you all in the chat can welcome and say happy birthday to my mother. She loves her birthday. She's one of those people who loves their birthdays. And I tease her about it all the time. She's always loved her birthday. I'm like, Mom, I love you to pieces, and I wish you a very happy birthday. But, I don't think it's becoming of you to talk about how much you love your birthday. But that'll be later this hour. So this hour, this segment, 17 minutes full bore. Let's get to. First of all, saw my man Jonathan Conrad last night. Went out to dinner with my wife, and we ran into him and his lovely family. So there's your plug, ISF. Got that out of the way. Now, here we go. But we will have a red zone. Yes, we will, because that's normally what we do on a Friday. And there it is, Artisan Financial Strategies. Tom was ready. He was on the ready. He was good. By the way, best of, what'd you find? You found some old cool ESPN stuff, didn't you?
I found some cool stuff. Yeah, there's going to be more as time goes on. I know the holidays, we usually take a longer break. I don't think that's going to happen this year with all the changes happening in Florida State. There's going to be some days. Maybe January would be best of season more than December. It's kind of the nature of how we do things now in college football. We've got some Rulon Gardner action today.
Oh, buddy.
There's Marvin Harrison, Zamfir, and Ozzie Guillen loving on Fidel Castro.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And that's from 2012, I think. Time flies. Camerons or Huggers is a segment. And then one of the great long-form interviews that you did over that span of time at the Four Letter Network.
Jake the Snake?
No, that's a good one. We'll hunt that one down. Boy, oh boy. Anytime you wanted to talk about something else, you'd be like, this is why, when I was sexually assaulted, you're like,
I kept trying to move the subject over here, and he'd be like, well, I nearly died in 1984, but that was 2 years after I was sexually assaulted for the last time. And you're like,
serious matter. It was a serious matter. We get it, but I'm trying to ask you about WrestleMania 11. We just devoted the last 20 minutes to that. When you raised in an environment.
What's the long form interview that you?
It is Dan Kendra, Mark Weingartner interview from the long form study or story he did on the legend of Dan Kendra, which is an excellent look back at one of the legendary what could have beens in Florida State program history.
And Mark, by the way, was awesome. We got to track him down again. He was a professor at FSU. Obviously, he has written numerous books. He was an interesting cat to hang out with. He wrote a long-form ESPN The Magazine piece on Jameis Winston, and he quoted me in it. And I remember that as well. Yeah, okay, cool, good stuff.
In ESPN The Magazine as well. He had a couple of feature pieces. He had a good little run there. He obviously did a bunch of other stuff that was renowned in his field, but he had a pretty good run there with ESPN The Magazine specifically.
He also finished a book he went back and was it a prequel to The Godfather?
I think it was a postscript.
Okay. Yeah.
The Godfather Returns, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then he also wrote part of the video game.
Yeah. That's really cool. I never played that video game. I bet it was awesome.
He was a big reason that when I was in school at Florida State, the creative writing department, I don't know what it's ranked now, but the graduate department was #1 in the country in creative writing. And Mark Weingartner's accomplishments were a big part of that. So I was nerding out when he was in the building.
All right, my man. Let's get to the red zone. First down, right off the bat, Artisan Financial Strategies. You know it. It's our boy, our guy, our man, Adam Tolliver, fellow Nole. Love Adam.
Welcome to the majesty.
Every freaking rep.
The elegance.
To win the game. Oh, he hits the upright. It's no good.
You have entered.
Someone burned down the funeral home. You burnt the funeral home.
Lives will be changed.
Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable.
others will cry.
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough.
Legacies are etched into eternity.
I know who I am.
North. South Dakota was his brother from West Virginia.
This is the Red Zone.
That's good to know.
Take it on over to NoleRetirement.com and build a winning game plan for retirement. You join their email list when you go there, and you'll claim your free retirement readiness assessment. They are basically, listen, financial planning, estate and legacy planning, risk management, all these things that I tell you about every week when we talk about Artisan Financial Strategies. These are tireless workers who are really good at their job, and they have great resources. You've got business succession plans and exit strategies, investment management, all that stuff right there. Go to NoleRetirement.com. Get signed up today. A lot of you have, and I appreciate that, and so do they. Let's keep it rolling. Now, first down, what do we got, big dog?
It's all about changes. There's a lot of yes or no questions here rather than over-unders. There might be one over-under, though. We'll start with a yes or no question. Will Florida State's offensive coordinator bring a quarterback with him?
Oh, goodness gracious.
And we can expand that question. Does Florida State dip into the portal / get one from their coordinator for a veteran arm to come into the program?
I'm very torn on this. I don't know the answer to that. So I have to give an answer, so I'll say no. But what I'll tell you is that I really don't know what Mike should do here. It was an impossible assessment period with these two kids. They have not been given a fair shake. They have not had a fair shot. They had nothing in the way of a semblance of an offense to run. They could not block. They could not run. And you're throwing them into the mix in impossible circumstances with a team that is completely checked out, a dead team that doesn't care, and said, go get them, boys. Go get them, and I'll judge how you do and decide whether or not you're the guy for the future. Man, I don't know if we're going to keep both, if we're going to lose both, or if we're going to lose one. Any of the scenarios would make sense to me at this point. If you can get a surefire quarterback in the portal that you know has done it at a high level, whether he comes with a coordinator or not, I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I don't – listen, if they both announce in the moment that you bring in another player from the portal to play quarterback that they're leaving, you give them a hug and you say, I'm so sorry. I butchered this. I screwed it up. Best of luck to you. You're fine, young man. You've worked very, very hard. You deserve to have success, and I hope you do. I wish you nothing but the best. And if they stay, great. Then you know they're made of some tough stuff. But man, it's unfair to them, and but also if you're Mike, you got to win, and you've got to win right effing now. And if you've got a guy that's coming out of his junior season and he threw for 3,800 yards and 25 touchdowns to 5 picks, and he's mobile, because, by the way, that's a requirement of mine from here on out forevermore. You better be able to move. Now, you don't have to be Lamar Jackson, but you better at least be Baker Mayfield. You got to be able to move. And you know what I mean by that kind of mobility. Like, he's functionally mobile. He makes things happen. So I don't know. I feel very bad. This situation is one that bothers me. I know you get upset when you talk about Toafili. I get upset for these two kids. They got screwed. This is a nightmare. Well,
both of them are functionally mobile, so they would check that box. But yes, in terms of what they have about,
we don't know what they have. I mean, they both have some tools that I like, but they really couldn't illustrate them for very long periods of time.
Yep. Second down is a yes or no. 7-5 is acceptable next season.
Yes.
It is.
Oh, buddy, we're 2-10, and our wins are going to be over Cal and Charleston Southern. Yes, 7 wins is acceptable next year, and it doesn't depend on how it looks and who you beat and who you lose to. They always do, but yeah, you got Alabama on this schedule next year. I
find that interesting, just because you lean on it can flip fast more than most people do. So even with that.
I don't think you can flip as fast as, say, Corey Clark or others in this staff think it will. I mean, they're out here talking 10-2 and 11-1 possibilities. I don't know about all that. I do think modern college football lends itself to this. I do. I believe that teams that are going to win 5 games one year and 10 the next, and then back to 4 and then up to 11. I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to see lots of examples of that. I think that college football fans have to become pro football fans. They have to understand that just because you win the NFC South last year doesn't mean you won't finish last next year. Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it. Unless you have a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. Like, we judge the consistency of NFL teams solely by who your quarterback is. If you've got an elite one, you have high expectations. If you don't, you could win the division and you could be dead last the next year.
Third down, you are personally more interested in the defensive coordinator hire or the offensive coordinator hire?
Defensive coordinator hire. And I run counter to most people because our offense is the worst in the country and people want to know how that's going to get fixed. It'll get fixed when you can block. Any offense you run operates at a high level if you can effing block, but they can't block. And so I put it at the feet of this offensive line coach that was fired, rightfully so. I put it at the feet of that offensive line, which is underachieved across the board and has for years, I might add. Pre this staff, you could go on and on and on to our offensive line troubles. I care that we play a rugged form of defense that triggers downhill and intimidates people and knocks the bejesus out of people, is borderline on the edge of being too much. That's what I want to see because that's how defense should be played. I want to strike fear in the hearts of all men that play Florida State. So there you go, defensive side of the ball.
Fourth down, let's see, which direction could we go here? Outside of offensive line, the most important position to correct through the portal is?
Well, it's always got to be quarterback. It sounds like, we could argue about semantics, correct. He got it wrong with DJ, obviously. Again, that could be rooted in the offensive line troubles. I don't love DJ anyhow. I don't want him back whether they have the best offensive line of all time.
Well, but that tells you about the assessment. Just by nature, he's not on campus in your uniform if you believe that your offensive line's no good. That's just, he's the last person in America that you would sign in that situation.
Yeah.
So it was a miscalculation to the hilt. Okay, let me revise it. I take quarterback off the board. Offensive line is a humongous priority. Quarterback's off the board. Where are you going? Where you spending some money?
Wide receiver, I think probably.
Not defensive line. I find that interesting.
Well, you're right. I just got done saying defense is the most important thing, though. I didn't want to be redundant. I think it's included in my imploring that we get the defensive coordinator right, that part happens as well. I also happen to think a couple of the big guys on this defensive line are coming back. But as far as
is that a good thing?
Well, I think Josh Farmer can play.
You think Josh Farmer could be back?
He hasn't had a great year. He's gotten screwed because of what's around him. I think he can really elevate his draft stock. This is the conversation I'd be having with him.
Well, the other conversation you have is, are you going to have a dalliance with Miami again? Are you going to threaten to go in the portal?
Leave. You can leave then if you want to do that.
That is a zero tolerance deal, yeah?
Yeah, you got to be cold-blooded from this point forward because you don't have time, Mike. You don't have time for this nonsense. The guy wants to be here, he doesn't. If you want to take it on down the road, take it on down the road. See, this is what got you in trouble anyhow. We didn't hold certain people's feet to the fire across the board with consistency, and that means guys on your own staff. You did not make your coaches go out and recruit the way that they should have been recruiting, and that's on you. But also, we live in the dawn of a new age when it comes to player moving and coming and going. I don't think you can have time. You got to cater a certain amount because you have to have NIL opportunities for players, and obviously money weighs into that. But if you're going to try to use this against me month in, month out, you don't have the character I need for you to be here. You can take it on down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. I don't have a fifth down fan.
Well, you don't need a fifth down, though. We're good. Those are 4 good downs from our friends at Artisan Financial Strategies. I mentioned it a moment ago. NoleRetirement.com, financial planning, estate and legacy planning, risk management, all that, investment management. It's all good. Find out your retirement readiness program with our friends at Artisan Financial Strategies. Adam is awesome at what he does. Just talked to him last week, and he is locking in. He said the world doesn't make any sense to him right now, but he's just going to keep shining the light and moving forward. So I said, that's what you do right there. That's what we got to do in our personal lives, and that's what Florida State's got to do. Good Lord.
What is the standing between you and your mom in terms of the picks? Because it's been a couple of weeks. We didn't have one last week. It was a travel day. Did you?
Yeah, it's her up by 2 going into this week.
Ooh.
Her up by 2. It's close. I had that big shift where I won like 4 out of 6 one week or something like that, 5 out of 6. Then we had one where I beat her 2-1 or 3-1. And then last week she beat me by 1. So she's hanging on very tenuously.
What's interesting is it's only one more game, and I know Goodell eventually in the NFL will move it to 18 games for a season. But there's something about that extra game that it feels like the season is very long. And the reason I say that is we're approaching Thanksgiving. It's November the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you see the end of the road. You see the playoff scenarios, and you kind of get a feel for what it's going to be like in the playoffs. For some reason, that one extra week, because it goes beyond New Year's Day. You play a regular season game after New Year's. It just feels like the season goes on forever. So for your betting purposes, for your competition purposes, this is a long way to go.
Oh yeah, we've got a long way to go. I could be down 5, she could be down 5, and I wouldn't feel safe. Right now, it's just 2. She's gotten to be tough competition, Tom Lang. Tough competition. But it was a good week for it because there's some sneaky good games. Like a sneaky good game is Cincinnati versus the Chargers. That's a sneaky good game. Obviously, an obvious good game is Kansas City and Buffalo. An obvious good game is Baltimore and Pittsburgh. That's an obvious good game. So you have some games like that this weekend that I'm kind of like, okay. I like the slate. There's 4 or 5 games. By the way, oddly, the Revenge Bowl. I really want to watch Jameis take the Cleveland Browns into New Orleans and hopefully stomp their ass. Let's go. The Fighting Winstons.
You know, the main reason that he did not like his situation is gone now. Everybody loves the interim coach.
Yeah, but they all hated Dennis apparently.
Yeah, they did.
Not the greatest of guys. But,
well, the defiance thing though, that was an interesting moment. You know,
it wasn't a good moment. It wasn't a good look. Have you seen his new tea commercial? Jameis's?
He got a commercial deal?
Oh my God, it's awesome. Guys, it is incredible. And I will tell you right now, hold on. It was sent to me last night. It is amazing.
It's not like a fan edit meme thing. It's for real?
No, it's a real commercial. It is hysterical and it is well worth, it is, I'll tell you, he's spelling
incorrect. T
Watch this.
is spelled T-E-A. So sad. Next. Mr. Winston, with that last misspelling, this next word is for the Real T Spelling Bee Championship. Are you ready?
I was born ready. I'm actually required to spell. My grandma used to always tell me to spell resilient because I'm a resilient person. Resilience is spelled.
R. Winston, your word is polyphenols.
Polyphenoms.
No, polyphenols.
I got this. I'm ready.
For the championship,
Can you define the word?
polyphenols are natural compounds with health benefits.
All right, it's very funny, and it ends hilariously. Everybody go watch the new Jameis Winston commercial. It's phenomenal, and he plays himself to the hilt. By the way, he spells it correctly, and it's very funny. Stay right here, Jeff Cameron Show on a Libations Friday. Libations Friday rolls on, and that means we get to bring in my good man, Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. As always, big year for Lee. He has been awesome on this program, and I know throughout the country. It's been a good season for you, Lee. Not that you have bad ones, but some are better than others.
True.
And I know this has been a really good one. Let's see if we can keep it rolling this weekend. And, I expect another 50 or 40 unit play this week, Lee. Let's go.
Okay, we'll see. Got to wait on some things. I mean, weather, as you get later in the season, more injuries.
Yeah.
Weather's a factor. They got to stop hiding these injuries, college football.
It's killing us, Lee. It's killing us.
I know.
I'll tell you something. I lost my ass because I didn't know Army's quarterback wasn't going to play a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I knew he was questionable. That's why I didn't play that game.
But it's crazy to me. There was one where they were, I think it was the Army game, might have been a different game, where nobody knew at all that the quarterback wasn't going to play. And then the game started. You're like, who's this slappy out here playing quarterback? That can never happen, and it doesn't happen in the NFL.
No.
Let's get to it. Clemson's a big favorite over Pitt. Obviously, Clemson takes it on the chin at home and loses that game a couple weeks ago to Louisville, and now you wonder about their disposition, how locked in they'll be. That's a big number against Pitt. Your thoughts?
So a game I'm probably not going to play. We're going to cover this game. Obviously, it has ACC implications. If Miami loses, Clemson can get into the championship game if they run the table. Here's the problem. We don't know if Eli Holstein's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't play, his backup isn't very good. They're one of their best receivers. Mumford, he may not be able to play in this game. So it's a tough play. I don't think Pitt is very good. I thought for a while Clemson was playing at a high level. Looked like they were for about 4 or 5 games, and Klubnik was on fire, but now he's not quite where he was. Slight lean to Clemson. Only I think they're more talented, and Mufa, their running back, is one of the top running backs, I think, in the conference. We'll take him here, 35-24, but only a leaner.
I'm with you on this. It's a leaner for me, too. Georgia and Tennessee, we know Etienne is out. I'm kind of curious. If you get good Georgia, they'll kill Tennessee.
Right.
If you get lackadaisical bad quarterback play Georgia, they could lose the game and not be in the playoffs. It's a really weird team to try to bet week to week when you watch Georgia. Would you give up this number to Tennessee?
I wouldn't, only because I think something's wrong with the offense. It's not just Carson Beck. There's only 2 touchdowns and 7 interceptions over the last 3 games. Their receivers getting no separation at all. The play calling hasn't been great. You look at Carson Beck. He comes off the field. He looks like he's lost.
Yeah.
So how do you lay double digits even at home? Tennessee, I think, can hang around here. We don't know if their quarterback's going to play.
Right.
I mean, we're not even sure about that. So I do know that they have a really good front 7 on defense. They've got the best running back, Dylan Sampson, over 1,100 rushing yards and 20 rushing touchdowns. I think they're going to try to shorten the game, run the football. They run the football almost 64% of the time. So I'm going to take Tennessee plus the points. If Nico plays and you're getting 9.5, 10, I think it's the right side. I'll put half my wager. I'm going to put 2 bets in on this game, 3 total. If he starts, I'm going to play Tennessee plus the 10. I'm going to take half of my wager on that and put them on the money line. And I'm also going to put a small wager on the under 47.5 total points here.
I bet the under earlier in the week.
I think both these 2 teams not going to score a lot of touchdowns, a lot of play between the 20s, a lot of what do we call it? Slobber knocking going on.
Yeah.
So I like Tennessee here outright 23-20.
I got a question for you real quickly that has to do with you were a quarterback and we've talked about that before. How does an offense or a quarterback go from supreme confidence, looking like the first quarterback taken in the draft, confidence, just exudes confidence, to completely lost, throwing into triple coverage, bewildered as he comes off the field? Like, how does that happen when you're surrounded by good players?
Well, I never went from that high to that low. So I wasn't that good. But I will tell you, so luckily I had a really good head coach and offensive coordinator, play caller. Like my senior year, we lost 9-11 starters after my junior year. It was me and 1 offensive lineman, this big guy. He was like 315 pounds, couldn't move. He was the worst offensive line starter. So we basically had everyone else. The whole offensive line was 10th graders and a bunch of slow wide receivers that ran like 4.8s but could hold on to the ball. And I'll never forget this. My head coach and offensive coordinator said to me, listen, just trust in me. I'm going to put you in positions where we can win. So we would run. Sometimes we would try to confuse people because this was, going back to high school, but we knew that we were not real talented. We weren't going to win the state. We would come out with 16 new plays every single week. So he knew that I could run anything from a wishbone to a veer to a spread. So one week we'd come out in a wishbone, the next weekend in a spread, and run these 16 plays, and we would just run the same plays over and over and know how to run them well. But I think that it's a combination. This kid was told he's going to be a top 5 pick, which he might have been. He lost talent. His receivers can't get any separation. And he doesn't, the offensive coordinator, he doesn't have the good trust in the offensive coordinator. So a little bit of everything. The offensive line is good, but not their best offensive. You're not going to see 2-3 guys go in the first round like they've had in the past. Right. So it's a combination of everything.
Baltimore and Pittsburgh, this is a good NFL weekend, a great NFL weekend, and this is part of the reasons why right here. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, one of the great rivalries in the sport. Pittsburgh is forever overachieving. You watch them play, you're like, they have no business being 7-2, but here they are. Here they are again, and obviously Lamar has got to get back into the playoffs and win something in the playoffs because he's got to get the stink off of him about that. He's had a great year. It's -3 for Baltimore. What do you see in this game?
So here's what's interesting. Baltimore plays better on the road. Can't explain it. They have covered 10 of the last 13 on the road. They have put up at least 450 yards, 5 of the 6 road games this year. Pittsburgh no one thought that they'd be sitting here with 2 losses. Why? Made the change at quarterback, play good, solid defense. But now we know they beat Washington. Washington isn't very good. Great record for a while, really good young quarterback, but other than that, not much. The other 3 teams they beat before that are nothings. So I think that Baltimore, which plays better on the road, which lost to Pittsburgh twice last year, they got the MVP, Lamar Jackson, 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Probably the offensive MVP here. Great running game. I think that Baltimore wins this game 30-20.
Got him winning, going away. That's a big number in an NFL game. Yeah. Detroit is heavily favored against the Jacksonville team, who's still on their backup quarterback, we think. And Detroit scores on everybody. Would you lay 13 in an NFL game, though? I never do. Would you this weekend?
I might this weekend.
Wow.
Detroit, they can score.
Yes.
They can score like no other team. I think Jared Goff got his bad game out of his system. He threw 5 interceptions, and they still found a way to win. So they have the best kicker right now in the NFL. Anything within 65 yards is almost automatic. He hasn't missed a field goal attempt this year. A lot of people don't realize this kid Bates, who was kicking out of a job and kicking in the whatever league it was, the USFL or whatever.
Right.
And then Jacksonville, I think they had 136 or 143 total yards last week. If Minnesota had not thrown 3 interceptions in the red zone, they win that game by 14 to 20 points here. I think Detroit at home is an absolute monster here. I think they win this game here 38-10.
Buffalo and Kansas City would be the game most people highlight this weekend. Buffalo's favored at home -2. Kansas City should have 3 losses by now. They keep escaping and keep finding ways. Last time it was a blocked field goal.
Yep.
It's annoying, Lee.
Yeah.
It's very annoying. I'm tired of it. You're tired of it. We're all tired of it. Good God. Come on, Buffalo. Come on, Buffalo. Do I lay the 2?
Here's what happened. The line opened at KC -1. I'm a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
I want them to lose desperately.
Yeah.
Now it's Buffalo -2 to 2.5. The public is all over this game. But 68% of the money is actually on Kansas City.
Wow.
So the public's playing one side. The sharps are playing the other. I think Kansas City's the right side. They better coach. Andy Reid, 4th and 1, play calling, the best. No one even close. They have the better defense. We know that's not even close. As good as Josh Allen is, and he's a monster, he's going to be without Ken Coleman, and possibly 1 or 2 other receiving targets. And Patrick Mahomes, 14-3-1 as an underdog. In fact, he's won the last 7 straight up. Kansas City's going to lose, Jeff. Relax.
Yeah.
They're going to lose in the regular season.
Yes.
But not this game. I think they win 24-20.
Damn it, man.
I know.
Free play is LSU, Florida. Weird game. Hard to gauge. How can folks get this game from you, Lee?
First 5 callers. They call 800-400-9741. Give it to them for free. I think there's a clear right side to this game. 800-400-9741. Get it for free. And how about this? Normally when we have a standalone game on a Thursday or Friday night, $50. I'm going to give it to them tonight for $10. That's right. The cost, what does it cost when you go to Chipotle?
About $10.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10,
9,
13
10,
bucks,
11 days. It ranges
yeah.
depending on their cost of goods.
Yeah.
So for the cost of going to Chipotle, you can get my Friday fire pick, $10, top play in college football, $10. Never had it this low. How do you hop on board? Give it a try. Also, the UFC, 3 selections, normally $50, $15, a pay-per-view. So you want 2 nights of action, college football tonight, the UFC tomorrow night, $10 in football, 15 in the UFC. I don't have anything on the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
You mean the fixed fight that is going to go a full 8?
What do you? Yeah. Oh, if that happens, I've never paid for any of these
I haven't
shows.
I don't. Yeah.
But you're going to watch it though, right?
Yeah, I will. I don't know if I'll watch it live, but I'll watch it. I have to. You know, when I heard they weren't using regulation gloves, they're using 14-ounce gloves. They're only going 8 rounds. I'm like, okay, what are we out here playing patty cake? Because in the real world, don't you think, Lee, that these two guys walk in, they meet up on the street, they have a disagreement. Mike Tyson would kill him.
Right.
Like literally kill him. Right.
Well, if Mike Tyson lands a really good punch, you still keep your power. Yeah. But if he doesn't, he gets caught. 50, once you get a past 40, a lot in the UFC, your reactions. We've seen guys that they take a punch, that same punch at 30, at 40, 45, they're out. Their lights are knocked out. So I think it's if it's on the up and up, there's going to be a knockout by the second round.
Right.
If we get to the 5th round and they're hugging each other, I'm turning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm
rooting for Mike Tyson though. I'd love to see Mike Tyson. I think Jake Paul is on a serious cocktail of steroids.
Well, sure. And he's also a clown. I'd like to see Mike beat him half to death inside of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like I want Mike to take to the ring like he did in his prime, even though he's not. And we forget at the tail end of his career, he was a bum. Right. But that was against real fighters, real, like, Louis Riddick and, people like that, and Holyfield and others, I want him to walk into the ring as angry as he was at the world as a young man, right? And just beat the bejesus out of Jake Paul.
That would be great.
It would be awesome. We're not.
That'd be great. That'd be great. So,
hey, Lee, it's always a pleasure, buddy. Enjoy the weekend.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Good. Take care. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, joins us every Friday. He's had a great year. Go check him out, ParamountSports.com or the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV in a moment.
And now for another edition of the Family Pick-nic.
Go to your room!
Ma, the meatloaf!
Take it away, Jeffrey.
All right, so it was that last week we didn't get the opportunity, at least not on the air, because it was a travel day as I went to Chicago to bring Mama on like we do for Libations Friday. But we're in a pool together, so I know her picks and she knows mine. And she beat me last week by 1 game. She got 10 right and I got 9 right, which means she is up by 2 at this juncture of the season. A lot of football to be played, but Mom is up 2, and I'm about to bring her on, and we'll make our picks for today. Should note, everybody, that given that she is the mom of the Jeff Cameron Show, it is her birthday. So we all celebrate my mom's birthday today. My mom on the show today, vibrant even at the age of 92. It is remarkable to think that this woman is in her 90s, but there she is. Look at her. Happy birthday, Mom. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm great. Some days I feel 92, but most days I feel 29. So
okay.
That's a good thing.
I can attest that my mom is a lively woman, even in her older age. She is a workout warrior. She eats properly. She has remained thin and lean her whole life. Just about. Mom, I've seen pictures of you when you were just out of high school, and you were heavier then than you are now by quite a bit. You were never big. You weren't fat. I'm not saying that, but you were beefier than you are even in your, say, 40s, 50s, 60s.
I think, I don't know. I've never weighed more than about 120 pounds. That's just kind of been, now, except when I was pregnant with you, of course. But other than that, I've been like, if I get up to 125, let's say, I'm like, oh no. And so, oh no. And so, because, being an exercise person and instructor and aerobics and all that, I know how easy those pounds sneak up on you.
Oh,
and
I know too, as somebody who drinks a lot of beer.
Yes. And so when 5 pounds turns into 6, turns into 8, turns into 10, and then it gets harder to lose it. So I put the brakes on and then go back down. Normally I'm at around 118, and I think in high school I was probably at around 120, but my face was probably chubbier because I was younger, and you lose volume sometimes as you get a little older. But I actually have some clothes, believe it or not, that not from high school, but from way back in the day that I, still can wear if they were in style or whatever. So I've stayed very, very close to what I am now.
I'm not where I was in high school at all, which it was okay. I didn't want to weigh what I weighed in high school, but I've said before, I need to get down closer to 210 than 220.
That's probably right.
That's where I need to go. All right. Well, I should also say that on your birthday, first of all, I love you. Happy birthday. Secondly, I would say that since we're 100 pounds apart, it made it easy for me to body slam you back in the day when I would pick you over my head, and you remember that.
I do remember that. I do. Yes. Jeffrey was big into wrestling back in the day. And yes, he would in his bedroom, and John, his brother, would be there sometimes. But anyway, yes, and he'd be picking me up and body slamming me on the bed.
This was after I was lifting weights.
And your listeners have a visual picture of that.
Well, this is also when I was lifting weights and getting bigger for football and getting stronger. And so then I was getting real strong, and I was like, I could throw my mom around like a rag doll.
Yes. And you did.
Yeah.
But I was never injured. No participants were hurt in this.
No, I had great technique. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
We both had Philadelphia last night.
We did.
So we begin with you up by 2, and let's get the picks for the record.
All right.
Green Bay at Chicago.
Green Bay.
Jacksonville at Detroit.
Detroit.
Minnesota at Tennessee.
Minnesota.
Las Vegas, the Raiders at the Dolphins.
Oh, the Dolphins.
Ugly game.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of the Rams, they face New England.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Rams. I think New England's doing better, but I think the Rams are too.
We agree. Cleveland at New Orleans.
Yeah, now that's a terrible game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking New Orleans.
I'm going to take the Fighting Jameis Winstons and go with Cleveland.
I know. That game is kind of a toss-up, I think.
Vegas agrees with you. It's a 1-point spread.
Yeah.
I'll take Cleveland.
Okay.
Indianapolis at the Jets.
Yeah, now that's a terrible game too. I tell you, there's some really good games this week and some really not terrible games. Who'd you just say? Indy at where? At the Jets?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Indy.
I'm going to take the Jets.
Okay, I kind of thought you would.
Neither one are any good at all.
They're not. And since I don't like Aaron Rodgers, I'm rooting against him every week.
Well, you're having a lot of success.
So far, I've got my spell on him.
Baltimore at the Steelers.
That is a great game. And like you say, and I know that Mike Tomlin is an awesome coach. And I want to pick Pittsburgh so bad, but I just can't do it. I took Baltimore.
I, too, took Baltimore. I think Lamar has played better this year than he has at any point in his career. I think he's out to prove something. These playoff losses have hurt his reputation, even though he's a 2-time MVP. I think they're on a mission. I think Baltimore gets it done.
Yeah, I think they may go to the Super Bowl.
Atlanta at Denver.
Yeah, I don't even know who I picked. I picked Denver.
I did too, but it's a toss-up.
It is a toss-up. It's not a good game. That's another one of these games.
Seattle at San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Kansas City at Buffalo.
Now that's a barn burner. And there again, I want to pick Buffalo so bad, but I can't pick against Kansas City until they lose. I just can't do it. I don't know, but I'm picking Kansas City.
Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Buffalo.
Oh, well, good for you.
Yeah.
Listen, good for you, because I don't want Kansas City to win at all. And I like Buffalo. And I like, is it Josh Allen?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Anyway, I like him a lot. But I don't know. It's hard to pick against Kansas City until they lose. They seem to find a way to pull it out at the end.
Well, they blocked a field goal last week, which is ridiculous.
I know. How often does that happen? I'd like to know the statistics on that.
Never happens, and they blocked it. It's a short kick. Denver had the game won. It's ridiculous.
I know. See, that's what I mean.
Cincinnati at the Chargers. Kind of a sneaky good game.
Yeah, it could be. I took the Chargers.
I am too, but I'm concerned. I think my man Joe Burrow is going to pull one out here, and I'm too chicken to pick him. But I'll take.
That's the way I am with a couple of these other games.
Finally, the woeful, pitiful Dallas Cowboys are hosting the Houston Texans.
I know that. I picked Houston. I bet Jerry Jones is just absolutely beside himself every day.
You could say about Jerry Jones, even though he's very much alive, it probably is as much like Jerry Jones is turning over in his grave because he looks damn near dead these days.
I know, and for a while there, he was looking really good. Remember, he lost all that weight and everything, and he was. Yeah. He looks very, very haggard.
At some point, when you're in your 80s, it's just not going to happen for you. You're not going to be able to keep your good looks forever. It happens. We fall off a cliff at some point. The cells break down.
I'm hanging on. I have a ways to go.
You do, Mom. You do. You're probably, I think it's true, and you've got good genetics on your side. Your mom and your grandmother, my grandma and great-grandmother, lived to be 1,000,000 years old. Your mom's still alive, and she's 98, and Dee Dee lived into her 90s. We know that. And then, of course, Cretia and Aunt Virginia. Jesus, all of them, 103, 105, 104. So you've got good genes.
I know. I hope so. I just want to keep making these picks well into my 80s, 90s, or whatever.
Yeah, you just got to keep your brain. Your body will keep up. You've done a good job maintaining that. So you just got to keep your brain. I can't have a cuckoo mother out here on the air.
No, I know. And as you tell me, you'll let me know.
I'll tell you the second you start prattling on about nonsense.
I thought you go, Mom, what are you talking about?
Well, I'm quick to diagnose a couple of things in people. If you've got a wig or a weave of any kind as a man, I know it the second I lay eyes on you.
Oh, yeah, that's quite a talent.
Oh, I can tell you from 100 yards away that a man's wearing a wig or not. It's a talent of mine I like to call people out when they're living a lie like that. And then secondly, I can tell if you're starting to lose it. If you're not following the bouncing ball, I know instantly. I was the first to diagnose somebody in our family. I was the first to diagnose somebody in Christy's family. I'm telling you, the second you get a little silly at the dinner table, I'm going to know it.
God help me if I forget somebody's name.
No, you're allowed to forget a name, but if you can't follow the bouncing ball of a story or a conversation, I'm going to be like, what the hell is she talking about? Or if you repeat yourself in the same setting, not that you tell me something that you told me 2 days ago. That happens. You forget who you tell people things. That it happens. But if we're talking and you say something at the beginning of dinner and then midway through dinner, you approach a subject just like it's brand new and it's the same thing you just said 20 minutes ago, I'm going to call in the silver alert. I'm going to.
Oh, my God. Well, I know. I think I might think that about myself if that happens. Oh, my word. No, right at this moment now, and people tell me this all the time, I actually have a very good memory.
Yeah.
I really do. I truly do. I hope it does not desert me. In fact, listen, this is crazy. I was just talking to my mom, your grandma, this morning, and she was wishing me happy birthday. And I even me now, which I don't know why I remember this, but I even remember the name of the doctor that delivered me.
Why would you remember that? That's interesting.
4 years ago. Well, that's the thing. I don't know, except that I remember seeing it on my birth certificate because I know we're at the hospital and the time and all that. But I remember the doctor's name was Dr. Satnick. And I said that to Mother. I said, wasn't his name Dr. Satnick? And she even, who was right there at the time,
yes,
said, yes, you're right. How did you remember that? I said, Mom, I don't know. I just remember seeing it on the birth certificate.
So you were born in California, and Dr. Satnick delivered you.
He did, that lucky sucker.
Mom, happy birthday. I love you very much, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you very much. I love everybody, and I'm having a great day.
Oh, well, good. You should. I'll talk to you over the weekend, Mama. Love you.
All right. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There goes Mama, and it is her birthday, and we wish her a very happy birthday. First lady of the Jeff Cameron Show, if you will. I think that's not how that goes, right? I don't know. Libations Friday rolls on in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.